Well, let's talk about it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video. Welcome to Sire's Domain. Now, on today's video, I want to talk about Ahmaud Arbery case, as the McMichaels have been found guilty for felony murder as well as malice murder. Now, the father wasn't found guilty of malice murder, but all other counts of felony murder, he was definitely found guilty of. Whilst Mr. Robbie William Bryan was found guilty of some of it. Now, William Robbie Bryan is the guy that actually videoed the whole incident and handed this over to the FBI or to the police officers that actually investigated this trial. Now, a lot of people have been split in opinions when it comes to this particular trial. Some believe that the McMichaels should have been found non-guilty, as they are comparing this to the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Now, in my personal opinion, there are lawyers that have said that these two trials are virtually different trials. In my personal opinion, I don't think that they are that different. They're just two opposite sides of the same coin, but I will explain that later on in this video. Now, before we get into any analysis of whatnot, I want you guys to see the judgment that was passed on the McMichaels as well as William Robbie Bryan. Take a look.
I'm going to go ahead and address each one of these verdict forms separately. The first verdict form I have is the State of Georgia versus Travis McMichael. Mr. McMichael, 4-3-3. Jury verdict form. Count 1, malice murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. I'm going to ask that whoever just made an outburst be removed from the court, please. Count 2, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 3, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 4, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 5, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 6, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 7, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 8, false imprisonment. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Count 9, criminal attempt to commit a felony. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. Dated this 24th day of November, 2021, signed by the foreperson. As to Gregory McMichael, in the Superior Court of Glenn County, the State of Georgia versus jury verdict form. Count 1, malice murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, not guilty. Count 2, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 3, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 4, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 5, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 6, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 7, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 8, false imprisonment. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. Count 9, criminal attempt to commit a felony. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. This 24th day of November, 2021. As to William R. Bryan, in the Superior Court of Glenn County, State of Georgia, State of Georgia versus William R. Bryan. Count 1, malice murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, William R. Bryan, not guilty. Count 2, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, William R. Bryan, not guilty. Count 3, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, William R. Bryan, guilty. Count 4, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, William R. Bryan, guilty. Count 5, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, William R. Bryan, guilty. Count 6, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant, William R. Bryan, not guilty. Count 7, aggravated assault. We, the jury, find the defendant, William R. Bryan, guilty. Count 8, false imprisonment. We, the jury, find the defendant, William R. Bryan, guilty. Count 9, criminal attempt to commit a felony. We, the jury, find the defendant, William R. Bryan, guilty. Signed this 24th day of November by the foreperson.
You heard that for yourself. You heard the verdict, and some people feel that this verdict was unfair. Now, in my personal opinion, right off the jump, I think that this is a fair verdict, and I think that the American justice system is working just as equally as it did with the Kyle Rittenhouse trial as well. And I will give you my simple explanation and analysis based on what I saw throughout this case, lawyers' analysis, defense and the prosecutions, and what I saw and what I've read about this entire case. I'm going to give you the whole lowdown. Now, if you have been living under a rock and you didn't know about how this whole Ahmaud Arbery trial came, Ahmaud Arbery was gunned down on the streets by the McMichaels. Ahmaud Arbery being a black person walking in I think maybe a white suburban neighborhood, and these people chased him down and gunned him down. But it wasn't just as simple as that. Now, this whole thing occurred as a result of the fact that the McMichaels heard an allegation that a week before somebody was terrorizing the neighborhood, burglarizing the neighborhood, stealing bicycles and whatnot. And so by this allegation, they went on their own personal investigation, found this guy walking on the streets or running in the streets. Now, there has been a lot of people that have said that Ahmaud Arbery might have been guilty of, burglary, which is a felonious act. But the only proof that showed up was Ahmaud Arbery was inside of an empty building, an incomplete building, and he was trespassing. Now, according to Georgia law, trespassing is a misdemeanor, and when it comes to burglary, that is a felonious act. These are established, right? So when it comes to the defense made an argument for the McMichaels that the McMichaels were effecting what you call a citizen's arrest based on the allegations that were placed on Ahmaud Arbery, or maybe based on the allegations that they heard a week before. Because there's no way they could have known that Ahmaud Arbery was the one that committed the burglaries the week before. Their only suspicion is the fact that maybe they heard the allegations were that of a black man was the one committing the robbery, and then they saw a black man in their neighborhood and decided to go and effect a citizen's arrest. Now, this is where there's a little bit of a nuance, and this is where the problem starts to come and the defense starts to fall apart. According to Georgia law, a person is allowed to conduct a citizen's arrest based on this policy. Now, the Georgia law is as follows. 2010 Georgia Code, Title 17, Criminal Procedures, Chapter 4, Arrest of Persons. Article 4, Arrest by Private Persons. Subsection 17, 460, Grounds for Arrest. Now, these are the grounds for arrest. A person may arrest an offender if the offense is committed in his presence or within an immediate knowledge. If the offense is a felony and the offender is escaping or attempting to escape, a private person may arrest him upon reasonable and probable grounds of suspicion. So basically, it has to be upon reasonable and probable grounds. It also has to be within a certain period of time, or the person that is effecting the arrest has actually seen the crime being committed, or the crime was just committed. Imagine if somebody was running across the street and somebody shouted, "Hey, murder, murder, murder," and you saw that person running across the street with a knife and blood in their hands. Well, you can effect an arrest. Now, while some have argued that this particular law was based on a racist law that was brought about in 1863, which was that a person can conduct a citizen's arrest on a black person or a slave that they deem was escaping, well, this particular law actually protects business owners. If somebody tried to steal or rob from you and that robbery was deemed as a felony, burglary, according to Georgia law, you can arrest that person. Hence why when people are guilty of thefts in shop, those shop owners can actually arrest them and hold them until the police comes into place. Now, when it comes to the McMichaels, if you are conducting an arrest the way that the McMichaels were conducting an arrest, you have to have probable cause. But the problem here is that they had the allegations, and the allegations was 11 days prior to the arrest. Now, why this doesn't hold water is the fact that 11 days is a long time prior to the arrest that they were conducting. Second of all, they did not witness Ahmaud Arbery conducting any criminal offense at all, other than the fact that he was trespassing in an empty building, which is misdemeanor. So if you are arresting based on misdemeanor, you are already guilty of committing a felonious arrest according to Georgia law, because that would be false arresting or false imprisonment, which is a felony charge in itself. Now, if somebody happens to die from you trying to arrest that particular said person, then it becomes a felonious murder. So they didn't have any grounds by which they could actually contest this particular case, because this whole thing fell apart. They went to conduct this arrest based on allegations. They didn't see any proof. Ahmaud Arbery didn't have any bicycles, wasn't having anything on him. Now, the second part that the defense tried to argue, which the prosecutor totally destroyed, was the fact that they were defending themselves. Because according to the video, when you see the video, you would see Ahmaud Arbery trying to launch at, I think, the son, McMichael's son. I forget his first name right now, but he was trying to launch at the McMichael's son when this whole struggle led to him being shot 3 times, I suppose. So they were trying to argue that it was self-defense, but this whole defense also falls apart because they were the aggressor in the first instance. And according to Georgia law, if you are the aggressor, you lose the right to self-defense. Take a look at how the prosecution actually places this.
What is the defense? We got self-defense. What is that? Well, they're going to try and convince you that Ahmaud Arbery was the attacker, that he was somehow threatening to them. 3-on-1, 2 pickup trucks, 2 guns. Mr. Arbery, nothing in his pockets. Not a cell phone, not a gun, not even an ID. They want you to believe that he is the danger to them. And Mr. Rubin said it in the opening statement. He was scary. So here's the thing. They're going to try to claim that they were justified in their actions. Okay? Because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot claim self-defense under certain circumstances. You can't. You don't get to say I was acting in self-defense. And there's 3 of them. And it's the law. This isn't just something made up. There's 3 of them in the law, okay? If you are the initial unjustified aggressor, you don't get to claim self-defense. If you're committing a felony against somebody, you don't get to claim self-defense. And the third one is if you provoke somebody so that they defend themselves against you. And then you go, oh, look, he attacked me first. But you really were the one who was provoking the attack on yourself. You don't get to claim self-defense. And that's the law.
So as you can see, the prosecution actually argues this way better than I can because they're lawyers and I am not. I'm just going simply by the laws and the grounds. Now, why is it in the first instance that the McMichaels wouldn't have been able or shouldn't have been able to arrest him? And why is this a felonious law? Well, this is very simple. Imagine if somebody was guilty of robbery 11 days before or burglary 11 days before, and that person had already been arrested by the police. Maybe the whole process had already been sorted. Maybe there is a court case pending and that person was released on bail. Then 11 days later, you happen to see that person and arrest that person. Then it becomes a felonious arrest because that person has already been arrested by the cops and the process had already been done. So simply because you don't know what has happened, the best you can do is inform the police that, look, you have found the suspect and the suspect is this, and this, going through this street. Please come and conduct that arrest. You don't have any right. You lose the right to do that. But if the event happened right in front of you, then you have the grounds to make that arrest. Now, the second ground of self-defense, there was no way they could actually argue that because there were 3 of them with a shotgun and Ahmaud Arbery had nothing, not even a pen knife to defend himself. So apparently Ahmaud Arbery had no choice than to go for the gun to try to save his own life. So they were the aggressors. So now do you get why McMichaels are guilty on all counts? Of course, they were guilty, but you let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. Now, when it comes to the argument that this is a very different trial from that of Kyle Rittenhouse, I don't think so. Like I said before, I think that this case is the yin to Kyle Rittenhouse's yang, because in this particular case, Ahmaud Arbery would be considered as Kyle Rittenhouse and not the McMichaels, because people are trying to compare McMichaels to Kyle Rittenhouse simply because McMichaels are white and Kyle Rittenhouse is a white person. No, that is not the case here. The case here is Ahmaud Arbery, because the McMichaels were the aggressors, just like Rosenbaum and Anthony Hubert were the aggressors in the case of Kyle Rittenhouse. So when you really want to look at this case, Ahmaud Arbery and Kyle Rittenhouse were one and the same. Now, this is what I think about this whole case, and in my own personal opinion, I think these people were guilty and the American system worked just as justly as it worked with the Kyle Rittenhouse case. It worked justly for the Ahmaud Arbery case. As Kyle Rittenhouse was innocent, Ahmaud Arbery was also innocent in this trial, which makes the McMichaels guilty. So That's all I had to say about this. I wanted to make this clarification because there are a lot of people who are arguing left, right, and center that the McMichaels should have been let out, but there is no way they should have been let out. The only person I feel might have not been guilty in this entire trial would have been William Robbie Bryan, who was the person that was videoing the whole thing. But the reason why he has been found guilty of some of the counts is the fact that he used this car to block off Ahmaud Arbery, and even he himself testified that he should have hit Ahmaud Arbery. And maybe if he did, it wouldn't have led to Ahmaud Arbery's death. It might have just stopped him and he wouldn't have fought back. And this would have just led to, you know, some kind of a felonious act, but not felonious murder. But at the end of the day, he was part of the whole thing that led to this person's death, which makes him guilty by association. Hence why he's not guilty of all counts, but some of the counts of the felonious murder. Hope you guys understand this better. Let me know what you think in that comment section below about my own personal analysis. And if you want to get more from expert lawyers online, check out Viva Frey as well as Nate the Lawyer and so many of these other guys who actually monitored this entire thing, because I'm going to shout out to them because I understand a little bit more of the law as a result of watching these guys, and I did my own research as well. Thank you guys for watching this particular video. Hope you guys enjoyed this and got something from this. If you did, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ding that bell for notification for whenever I upload, and I'll be seeing you guys on the next one. Take care of yourself. Peace. And Saya's out of here. Catch you guys later. Bye-bye.